So if you like the shade Lilac or any kind of gradation of purple, this video is for you. Today I have on a full face of Lilac / Mauve. Mostly new products. We're going to talk about the Dior Pink Lilac line. We're also going to talk about the Deep Mauve from Chanel and get into some of the things that I think you'll want to know when you're trying to see how these things work for you. So first, what do I have on my face? I do have on the Lisa Eldridge foundation. or skin tint. I've been wearing it pretty much nonstop since I purchased it. This is in T3. Underneath that though, I do have the Dior, the Tone Up, which again, I now understand what that is, primer. And this is in shade Lilac. You can see that little bit of a purple. When you put this on the skin, it gives a brightening effect and it does have a lilac tone. I would not recommend this for somebody who has a deeper skin tone because I just think that's going to give you a white cast. It's really hard to see on the skin. Hopefully the camera can, there we go. You can see it a little bit. It's right here. But it's difficult to see because my skin is so pale. But it does give a brightening effect. I think it looks really good on the skin. Really nice. I love the product. I wish it was available in the United States. I don't see it available in the United States yet, but anyway, it's a great product if you can get your hands on it if you're outside the US or you're in the US and you're able to get it somewhere else. Then on my eyes, I have the Dior Backstage in Cool Neutrals. The shade that I have on my eye is the Ombre Sculpting Powder, this one here, and then the shimmer on in the middle, which is Shimmering Lilac again. We've got lilac going on all day today. Now, I did that because I don't have the Chanel Lilac shade yet. I am going to purchase it. So I do want to mention that the Chanel single eyeshadows are excellent. I have every shade except for Lilac and I think it's something beige. I've forgotten the name of it right now, but it is a phenomenally good formula in those eyeshadow shades. However, as I've said many times, it is $40 for each shade. I think though, if you're the kind of person that does a one and done, if you're the kind of person that really does one shade on your eye, or maybe two at the most, I think that's a good investment. There's a decent amount of product, although less than there used to be, because of course. There's a decent amount of product, and there's a lot of good shades that can work for all over the eye. The Brune Fauve that's in there, that is a very warm, or Fauve Brune, I can't remember what it is now, but the brown, it's a warm brown shade. It's a really good, in my opinion, contouring shade for someone like with my skin tone. I think it would be a great all over shade if you want a deeper shade, especially if you have a deeper skin tone. It's a nice warm brown. The shimmer shades that they have, the metallics, I think they're all beautiful. The green, of course, is my favorite, the jade. I think it's a stunning shade. And then the ombre, I think it's ombre pearl, or is it, I can never remember names anymore. I'll make sure the names are all down at the bottom. But the pearlescent shade, it does harken back to a former Chanel product that some of you have reached out and showed me from my past. And I was like, yes, that's what it is. So I knew I had seen it somewhere from Chanel before, but it is a really different kind of formula. It's not really cream, but it's not really powder. It's just, it's more malleable than the other shades. The other shades are pure powder. The pearl one has like almost like a cream. It's not cream. I don't want to, get anyone to think that it's a cream shadow, but it's just a very different product. You'll see, if you go touch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's very pearlescent. It's very pink on me. I think it'll go different shades on different people, but on me, it's very much a pink. But just that's to say, if you're somebody who's doing a single eyeshadow and you pretty much wear one shade or maybe two, I really do think that's a good choice. I am going to do my comparison video like I did with my skin tints, but I don't have the clay to pose yet. And I think it's important to include those because those are relatively new. And I think if anything is going to throw Chanel out of the #1, I think it's going to be them. So I'll have that coming up. And I will be picking up a new Dior as well in the new single shades to compare them to the Chanel's. And that gives us a great segue into the other Dior items that are on my face. So as I said, I have the Tone Up underneath the foundation. I have the Cool Neutrals on my eyes. And then I have the liner from Dior. This is an older liner, but it's not old. I think this was 2, maybe 3 years ago. It's Sparkling Taupe. And Dior has redesigned their pencils and they have come out I have not bought them. There are lilac slash lavender shades in there. There's a number of shades in there, and they might be excellent. I really don't know yet, but this shade, although sparkling taupe, and yes, there's a taupe-ness to it, it definitely has a purple, which taupe does, but this has more of a lilac than I think taupe, my personal opinion. But in fact, I think it matches my nails, which are definitely purple. So I used that today, and I think that would be a good choice for the Lilac Chanel liner, the Chanel single shadow as well. Many of you reached out and said that Gucci has one, and Dior, of course, is going to have one or has one in their new lineup, so I might pick those up. I do also have the pink lilac line. Now, I don't have the glow, the stick, and I don't have the blush with me. I have ordered the blush. I ordered all 3 new blushes, the coral, the bronze, and the lilac, but I don't have them yet. So what I did today was use the Deep Mauve by Chanel. We'll get into that in a minute. But in the Dior Addict, it's called Dior Lilac. In the Maximizer and the Lip Glow Oil, it's called Pink Lilac, which I'm not exactly sure why the names are different, but the glow that comes with this collection is Pink Lilac, and so is the blush. So when I have them all, I will do a comparison so you can see. I do have the lip oil on right now, and it's very pretty. It is, of course, a lilac shade. Now, I'm going to swatch it for you. It's not, the lip glows are my favorite lip, I love these oils, but they don't really have a shade per se. There's a tint, you can see it, but these aren't going to be, you know, what, they're not going to be a lipstick. They're not going to even be a maximizer. They're lip oils. So unless this is just something that you absolutely feel like you have to have, I do this lip oil the most. I like the doe foot in it. It's really a huge doe foot. I love the oil and the way it feels. There's like a minty spearmint smell to it. There's no tingling. They are my favorite, but it's an oil. So just keep that in mind when you think about price. The Maximize is definitely more colorful than the lip oil, but I wouldn't say that it imparts a lot of color either. We'll put that on in just a second. I don't have that on yet. So you can see it. There it is right there. Can you see it's very similar in tone? And then the Dior Lilac, which I have showed you before, looks like this. It definitely has more of a pink. And I'll put that on last because I want you to see what the Maximizer is going to look like before I put that on. And then we'll put them all on together so you can see how that ends up looking. So let's take the Maximizer and put that on so you can see what that looks like. I don't think we're going to get a very different look from the lip oil. It's a little milkier than the lip oil. Now, I do not have a liner on with this because I wanted to keep it just the pink lilac. I think it looks nice. It reminds me a little bit of Purr, which was my favorite MAC gloss back in the day. So let me take off both of those and let's put on the Dior Lilac Addict Lip, then the Maximizer over it so you can see what that looks like. Now, as I showed you before, this goes very pink on me. I don't think it'll go this pink on everybody else. For some reason, lipsticks just go pink on me. That's just what happens. But yeah, you can see it's really pretty shade. I think it would look great with a deeper liner. If you want to make it rosy, then do a rosy liner. If you want to make it a little bit more 90s, I would do a brown liner. That's me. And then you take the Maximizer over it. I think that's a beautiful look. Again, it's very lilac. It's very pink, but I think it looks really good. Now, I have cool undertones in my skin, so you know, maybe it's just for me, I like the tones in this, but I think it looks beautiful on. Now, any of you who've watched me for a while will probably also notice that my skin looks a little deeper than it usually does, and that is because I have Deep Mauve on my skin. This is the Chanel Deep Mauve. This is the new powder, and I swirled all of these together to get this look. Now, 2 things I will say. I put it on and then put foundation on over it, the Lisa Eldridge on over it. Because this, if I just take this and, for example, take the brush and do what I did earlier, right? This is what I did on my face. And I try to put this on my skin. That's what I get. Now, it's very pretty. It's a very much a, like, it almost looks like bruise, but a good looking bruise, which is, by the way, the name of a Tom Ford liner from way back in the day. But anyway, it's really pretty, but you see how deep that is on my skin? That's how it looks on my face. So what I have to do is I have to put it on first and then put foundation on over it, or I have to go in with a much lighter brush than this. I have to do something more like this, more wispy. But I love the way it ends up looking because this, believe it or not, is what I would look like burnt when I get sun. When it actually dies down, what used to happen to my skin when I was younger and I actually went out in the sun, which I do not do anymore, I would burn and then I would turn a color, not as deep as this, but in that range. It would get this like pinkish, purplish, brownish shade. So that's what would end up happening to my skin. So if I do it like this and then put foundation over it, or if I just go very lightly with it, this is what you get. It's a definite deepening of my skin, but it's not so much where someone would look at me and be like, oh, that doesn't look right. So there's two ways to do it, like I said, if you're pale. Put it on first. You don't have to worry about how much you put on the brush or how dense the brush is, and then put foundation over it. Or put your foundation on and use a very wispy large brush. You don't have to, there's lots of wispy large brushes like a fan brush or whatever it is, and just wisp around the outsides of your face. I do have it on my nose as well. That's gonna give you that, I was on the beach and I sat in the sun a little too long, even though you've had SPF 100 on the entire time. So that's the kind of look you get. So I really am enjoying this for the summer. I'm headed out soon for my yearly birthday trip. I always go a little before my birthday. My birthday is May 31st. Sometimes I go away for my actual birthday. 2 years ago I did because it was a big birthday, but usually I go before that because my birthday is always around Memorial Day. And I try not to travel during Memorial Day because Memorial Day is always like, especially in New England, it's like the first time people have the ability to enjoy decent weather, if we're lucky. And so it's just chaotic. It's just chaos. So I always try to go away like mid to May. Last year it was Mykonos. The year before that it was Lake Como. This year it's going to be another place and I'll do video from it and hopefully maybe I'll do a vlog this year, like an actual vlog of the whole trip. But anyway, so I'm thinking I'm going to take this with me because I think where I'm going, this would be a great look for that because it looks like that summery kind of look. And the Lisa Eldridge is perfect because it's very lightweight and hopefully it doesn't melt off my face. The highlighter that I have on is Tom Ford. This is the Iris one now. So this is not the newest one that came out from Tom Ford because that was just a little too golden. This is the Rose Iris, which is just a great pinky highlighter, but it's not too pink. Like it's got definitely a cool silvery pink tone, but it's not so cool that you're just like, oh, that's like white, you know? It's just great and it looks beautiful on the skin. I think it's my favorite Tom Ford highlighter that I've really ever seen. I just think it's just really nice on the skin. So I think this look is like a really healthy, light lips, deeper eyes. I'm really actually enjoying this. And then the powder I have on, this is the Christian Dior Lilac powder, which they've had, the purple powder, and that just patted on over my face. And of course, Sweed Mascara, because that's my new favorite. Yeah, relatively simple to do. I think it looks really nice. I think these lavender shades, lilac shades, look really good with a little bit of, I don't want to say like a tan, because it's not actually a warm tan, but like a little bit of coolness in your skin to deepen it up. I think the lilac looks really nice with that. The purples look really nice with that. So like I said, I'm going to try this on my trip. Make sure I take the mauve with me and these lilac shades, these lavender shades, because I think it's a really good summery look altogether. And I think the coolness of the lilac and the lavenders looks really good with the mauve of the deep mauve Chanel. Now, like you said, Like on my hand right now, this looks like a bruise. It doesn't look good. But when you take this and you do it very lightly, or you take this and you don't put a lot on the brush and you put it on your face and then you put the foundation on over, it really does work. So for people who have a deeper skin tone, this is gonna look fantastic all the time. But for somebody who's really pale and you're going back and forth on whether you wanna pick up this powder, I think it's worth it if you like this type of look. If you're somebody though who's not gonna do that, I would not buy it because it is deep. It is deep. I'm glad a deep shade exists. I wanna caution anybody who thinks, you know, if they're my skin tone, that they can just put this on like with just any brush easily. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to watch it and how you apply it. Just putting that out there. And the new Lilac, Pink Lilac, the Maximizer, the Addict, the Lip Glow, I love all these shades. I like a lilac lip, a pinkish lip. Again, I would use a brown liner with this. Super deep, but like something that's gonna give it a little bit of shape. But with my face looking a little bit more bronzed, not really, but you get the gist, I'm actually okay with the light lip because I think it's like a good contrast and it looks nice. But the lip oil and the Maximizer aren't that different in shade. The lip oil is really pretty and it's one of my favorites, but it doesn't give you that much tint. I don't think this is gonna look that different than some of the other Maximizers that already exist. However, I do think it's pretty. And the Lip Addict in the Dior Lilac, I think it's a great shade, but it does go very pink on me. So I just wanna put all of that out there. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon.